So I recommend we get started.
Agreed.
Yeah, was it? Yeah, I agree. Let's go.
Well, good afternoon. Are we recording? I think it said it was. Yeah, we're
Oh yeah, I'm recording. Sorry. Yes.
No, you're good. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Let me get organized here real quick. Welcome to the Public Records Advisory Council's Bylaws Subcommittee meeting. Today is October 6, 2025, and I think the general gist of this meeting is to take a look at some draft bylaw changes that that Will and I put together. And I think we may have presented it, or we at least told the council. I think we told the full council and showed them the language. So this is an opportunity for this subcommittee to look at the language before it goes to the full council for consideration and approval. This is our agenda. I won't necessarily need a formal motion, but are there any objections or additions that people would like to make to the agenda as presented on your screen?
I have one thing, and it's more extending 3A, review draft revised bylaws language, because I realized kind of late to the game, there's one aspect of the reporting from whoever's doing the annual review to the council that I think we have to think about in more detail that I could get to at that point, but I just wanted to say I wanted to add that to the agenda.
Okay. And that's the biannual report, right?
No, sorry, the advocate review process.
Okay, so 2A.
Oh, my agenda has it as 3.
Oh,
Am I looking at the wrong agenda?
the PRA review process. You want to talk about it? Got it.
Yes.
All right. If there are no further additions or corrections to the agenda, I will consider it that we're all good with it. Okay. So just really quick, we have 2 processes that we've been asked to look at and draft bylaws for. I have this little slide here that tells us where we are in the process. We're in October, we're drafting language. Per the discussion we had at council and the last bylaws subcommittee meeting, assuming we can get some good language here agreed to, it's understood that an annual review will happen with the chair and the PRA before the next council meeting when council formally adopts this language. But at the council meeting just a couple of weeks ago, we explained that, and I don't recall any objections to that. So we're going to look at language. Assuming we're on the same page, then that'll happen, and then we'll circle back with presenting that language to the council in December. On a similar track, somewhat, the biennial process report, we're drafting language. That language will be presented to the council in December. That report is on a different schedule than the annual review, obviously, so that won't need to be done before the end of this calendar year. Any questions about the timing for either of those processes? Nope. Okay, let's get to the.
Hey, Scott, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
Mark.
I apologize. So what report are we coming up with before the end of this calendar year?
Not so much. Well, perhaps a report, but for our discussions before, we're putting together into the bylaws a annual review process for the chair and the advocate. We are not going to have an opportunity before the end of the calendar year and the current chair's term ending for the council to adopt that language, but there's agreement, and I've heard no objections, that the chair and the advocate can conduct an annual review in November. So you and Todd can meet, and per the outline, we're kind of the process we're outlining, but it will not have been officially adopted, but we want to get you guys an opportunity to do that. And there was no objection at the last council meeting or in these bylaws meetings that we've had. So you and Todd have a chance to meet in November, basically. And if there's a report to the council that comes out of that, that'll be up to you how official you make that, verbal versus written, whatever. But that's the thing that we were talking about getting done before your term ended.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I doubt there will be any kind of formal report. One thing that I do plan on doing, just for everybody's awareness, is I do plan on soliciting any feedback from the council members that I can share during our annual review. And then Todd, on that point, sorry, we're conducting business extraneous to the point of this. I am going to ask the co-chair to join me if she chooses to do so. So that's all I got. Thank you.
I think that sounds great. I think that may have been mentioned because Shasta was on the council meeting, and I think that all sounds as discussed. So I think the bulk of the rest of this meeting is talking about the language that Will and I drafted. And hopefully you now see that Word document. I can zoom in a little better here, maybe. I thought it just made the most sense to go through the document top to bottom. It'll make, I think, clear enough sense as to what the edits, the proposed revisions, which of the two processes they reference. So we'll just go ahead and look at this document. Hope it has been shared before. I'm pretty sure we shared it for the full council meeting. If not, I know it was posted with the agenda and notice for today. So this has been out there for a while. I've not made any changes since Will and I kind of agreed to the current stage back in the beginning of September. So we're going to go through it. We'll go line by line, but don't let that scare you. I think it's all fairly straightforward. So remember, there's the PRA annual performance review, and then the biennial report to the legislature. Those are the two main categories of reviews we're talking about. And the first time it comes up is in Article 2, subsection B, number 2, and we added language that under the purpose, we just wrote review the performance of the PRA as necessary, remove the PRA for cause. Questions, comments, thoughts on that? As one of the duties of the council. Hearing none. Then in that same section, subsection 6, we added to the section that talks about when a report's written to the governor and the legislative assembly. We added a sentence that just clarified that the chair leads the effort to write the biennial report. Any concern with that language? Okay. Then the rest of it as is, except for one little fun thing that apparently I'm guessing I found it. We forgot a period under agenda order next to adjourn. That's super controversial, but I added a period, or
I object.
put a period on it. So there's that cleanup there. And then, so kind of the meatiest of the sections, we thought we'd put, there's two places where most of this text falls. It's under the duties of the chair, which is in Article 5, Section B. So just sort of enhancing that. And then as you'll see further down, under committees. So under the duties of the chair, we added two subsections that did not exist before. One is the PRA performance reviews, and then biennial report to the legislature. I'm not going to bother to read it all, but I will pause here for a few seconds if folks want to take that in the moment and tell us if you have any further edits.
I have a potential edit.
Yes. And this
it sounds like based on our discussions that in the 4th year of an advocate's term, when that person is up for renewal, we won't do the usual annual review. We'll just do the 360 review. So I thought it would be helpful if that language were reflected in here. Because It just says the chair will conduct an annual performance review, which obviously makes it sound like it's every year. So maybe in something like in all but the 4th year of the advocate's term or something.
In the last sentence of section B1 there, it says PRA annual performance review is different than the 360 review. We just don't under the PRA's 4-year term. Oh,
right, but it doesn't say you won't do the annual that year.
You want to add something? Do you want to propose adding something here?
Yeah, I'm just saying because that line about the 360 doesn't say you won't do the annual review that year.
So I'm just going to start writing first thoughts. Tell me if it's wrong. 360 review. Oh no, I'll say in the 4th year of the PRA's term, the 360 review will replace the annual performance.
Perfect.
Something like that
works for me.
Okay. Anything else on B1? Will, does that new sentence make sense to you? Okay.
So I did want to talk about how the chair reports the findings to the council because it's relevant to the survey we then have to take every year. That would include, in part, what the council learned about the advocate's annual performance review.
Okay.
So can I just share my screen for a minute and show you what I'm talking about?
Stop sharing. Yep.
Okay. Let's see, window. Okay, should be seeing my screen by now. I hopefully highlighted the 3 questions that the council members need to answer individually each year that, in my opinion, is connected to the advocate's annual performance review. I mean, there's 15 questions in total. The council will need to get this the other information in other ways, like maybe the advocate's report or something like when we have our big meetings. But I think the ones I've noted here is 1, 2, and 3, I think are directly linked to the annual review and should in some way inform how the chair reports the annual review results to the council.
Okay. So how do we want to document that inclusion?
Yeah, Mark, I want to get your take too, since we decided, and which makes sense, that the review will be informal and probably the reporting will be informal as well. So in your current role as chair, would you feel better if this was like sort of a mandatory portion of the bylaws, or it was suggested that the chair, seek to answer these questions and report them to the council as such? Like, what makes sense to you?
I would kind of defer to discretion to the chair in how the annual performance review takes place. My preference personally is informal,
Mhm.
and but that may not be the case for a future chair. And as a result, my preference is to keep it open as possible for flexibility purposes, unless others feel differently. That's just my personal preference, but I'm not opposed to, perhaps making it more stringent or formal. Um, Frankly, um, my intention is to do an informal review in November and give an informal report during our December meeting. I believe we have one, just to report out that we conducted the annual review. If there's anything worthy of sharing with the full council, I'll do it. But I also don't feel particularly um, inclined to just, hammer out a bunch of details about the annual performance review of the advocate. Does that answer your question, Todd? It was sort of long-winded, but
Kind
I'm
of.
kind
I
of
mean,
thinking out loud here.
yeah, and I appreciate that. So keeping in mind the desire to keep it flexible, how would you incorporate these 3 questions or directions in the bylaws about these 3 questions, or anything related to that? Because this information needs to be conveyed to the council somehow so that when they have to answer the survey in the spring, they could have the information they need for these 3 highlighted questions to say yes or no. And I think that the information to answer those questions would come from the chair's reporting on the annual review.
Well, first of all, the director's performance expectations, I don't even know if we have director expectations, right? I mean, do your training, do your mediation, have a balanced budget, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, the expectations could be basically what they've been, don't mismanage the office and keep hitting those 2 benchmarks I report on in our meetings, trainings and mediations. I mean, the chair and or the council could develop those differently later, but
Yeah,
I think at least statutorily, I do have expectations you could report on.
yes. So I mentioned 2 or 3 that those are our expectations. Executive director receives annual performance feedback. Well, that's the point of the meeting in November. So that'll be a yes.
Mm.
And then the board reviews the annual performance progress report. Uh,
Which I guess is what you'll tell them.
well, I don't know if we've ever done an annual performance progress report. I mean, it sounds kind of formal to me. Uh, don't exactly know what that is. Uh, I
Well,
guess I guess that's sort of connected to question number 1, right? If you're
mm,
meeting those performance expectations, the board reviews the annual performance progress report, which would be, I presume, your trainings and your mediations. Yeah, I mean, this seems to me like it's going to be a 2-paragraph report.
Well, maybe the annual progress report could be your sort of informal summation that accompanies whatever you report to the council, so that we can check this box.
Is
I don't
this
know.
for this moment, is this perhaps solvable by adding a sentence that's like, the annual review process may refer to and include information collected during the, what was the name of the survey? And I know I should know this, but the survey you're pulling these questions from, Todd, the one that you're gonna do in the spring.
Well, it's yeah, I'll tell you in a second. It's for KPM2,
Yeah,
and it's called Public Records Advisory Council's Best Practices
survey.
Survey. Yeah.
Okay, so what if we add a sentence that's up to the effect of, the annual review
I'll stop
process
sharing.
may refer to and include information collected during the PRAC's best practice survey. Best practices survey. Is that, because I kind of
Wait,
tend
sorry,
to
say that one more time.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. I was typing.
Yeah, I don't think we want to add a additional report requirement here, or if there is one implied, we can at least make that discretionary and or as needed.
Yeah, no, this is kind of reverse because we need the information. Wait, the annual review process when referred to. Yeah, we need the best practices survey to refer to the annual review process. So it's like reversed from what you have.
I guess I'm confused.
Okay, so basically
I'm with you, Scott, but I'm willing to remain confused.
Okay, so essentially, so the annual review occurs at like the end of a year, and then you could look at it as the council survey occurring the next spring. And so when the council does its survey that spring, it needs information from the advocate's annual review that occurred at the end of the previous year. Specifically, the 3 questions I highlighted, the council needs info from the advocate review to answer those questions in the survey. And it doesn't have to be formal, it doesn't have to be in writing, because all question 4 refers to is the board reviews the annual performance progress report, but the chair could choose to deliver that progress report as like an informal statement to the council rather than something in writing.
So,
I think we're just clashing with the required language of the survey versus what we want to do with the advocate's annual review. And so we just need to find a way to bridge the two.
So the council, and so you're proposing that this annual review process be the answer to those questions in the best practices survey every spring?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe it's adding a sentence. Maybe this isn't the right place for the moment, but the council, yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry, I was going to say it could be as simple as when the chair reviews the advocate, they should make sure at least, okay, so it's something like they should strive to like ensure they like collect information to answer questions 1, 2, and 4 of KPM number 2. That's like the basic of it, and then report same to council.
May be the basis for the council's answers to questions about the PRA and the PRAC annual best practices survey.
Yeah, but maybe we shouldn't be specific about which questions, because that part is like not going to change.
You want to be specific? Is that what you said?
Yeah, like KPM number 2, questions 1, 2, and 4. That way, like say we're all gone in the future, the transcripts are lost. These KPMs are not going to change. So they would go to the bylaws, see what the KPM questions are, and know what they need to do. Chair.
I'm fine with this approach, Todd. I have seen KPMs change though.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I
true.
I don't see this one necessarily changing. Maybe rather than referring to the specific KPM, do we need to just list out those three questions that are contained within KPM 2?
I mean, that's fair, but I think they're kind of two sides of the same coin because if the KPM changes, if the survey numbering changes, if the state changes the questions, it sounds like any change to the KPMs would require an update of the bylaws.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the KPM changes, I think any way we refer to it would require an update in the bylaws. Because what if
Well,
just that survey goes away?
let's do this. I don't see the KPMs changing,
Mhm.
not at least not right away. I think that's a good way to solve it, Scott, is by referring to the 2025 1, 2, and 4. That may make more sense, and we'll just have to watch that, I suppose, in the future. If a KPM is changed, we'll have to go back into the bylaws and adjust it. But frankly, it's kind of rare that a KPM changes. I'll admit and confess to that, but I have seen them change. So I think that this is probably the best way to deal with it is just leave it like that,
And
if
someone
that
Okay,
would
makes
like,
sense.
then let me just offer one more anal edit. Instead of as of 2025, can we say the 2025-27 biennium? Because that's
Yeah.
the most accurate reflection of
Yeah.
what it is.
Yep.
what does KPM stand for?
Key
That's
Key
performance measure.
performance measure.
That's my OCD kicking in. Spell out all the acronyms. Okay. So we're adding this sentence: the PRA annual performance review report to the PRAC may be the basis for the council's answers to questions 2025, 2027 by, I don't know if I like that. Okay, 1, 2, and 4. And the PRA and the PRAC's annual best practices survey. That is wordy. Whew, I wrote that. I'm not sure I like that, but that is a lot of words.
I'm more than happy
and-
delegating to you cleaning that up.
And Todd, when we do the annual review, I'll have the expectation that you bring all the questions that we're supposed to pose to you.
Will do.
I think that's fair, right?
I'll make sure we got them.
Okay, I don't want to miss something. My final farewell review, I want to make sure I'm sticking to the right things. All right, so biennial report to have we concluded this one?
Yeah, it's very likely that I will look at this later and cut down the words, but for the moment, the gist is there. Yeah.
The intent is there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, biennial report to legislature. This one may be a little more straightforward. Anything, does that read okay?
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine, Scott.
Okay. And then I think we just wanted to note in the vice chair's duties that they may help the performance review there. Discretion of the chair, that look okay?
Yeah, I think that the vice chair or other members may participate in the PRA annual performance review at the discretion of the chair.
Yep. It's on me. Is that okay with you, Will?
Yep.
Todd? Yeah, okay. All right, rolling
So
on.
I think the chair's in the position of identifying who participates. I think it's important for PRAC members to feel like they have all PRAC members to feel like they have agency to this and an ability to kind of add their voice. And so that may happen not in the annual performance review process, but at some point after the review is done when the review is presented to the council. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, just because you may not be tapped, maybe someone doesn't have the greatest relationship with the chair and they're not asked to participate, there will be opportunities for the council to weigh in when the report's provided or through the annual best practices survey, I suppose, too. Is that what you mean? Want to make sure that they have that voice, Will?
I think that captures it, yeah.
I also think, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I do think that the chair should be seeking input from the members for the annual review as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that need to be spelled out? Maybe. I don't know. But it does seem to me that it's important for the chair and vice chair to get feedback from other members of the council before you do an annual review. I mean, to me, that's just common sense. And maybe you don't have to spell out common sense, but sometimes you have to spell out common sense, right?
Well, here's an interesting observation to that
Common
point.
sense can be developed into these documents as something actionable or as the context that's intended to be used to inform how the chair and vice chair proceed. And I think I would kind of go into that latter category. It provides transparency, but it also provides a little bit more discretion on the chair and vice chair's part to set up the process in a way that they think makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
In the duties of the chair, it says that the chair will form a subcommittee, and that'll include the vice president and other members as determined by the chair. So they will form a committee. It says that it will form a subcommittee, but also leaves discretion as to who's on the subcommittee.
Okay.
Do we feel like that's sufficient enough?
I think
Gentle
that's
direction
fine.
to future chairs and also
Yeah.
discretion.
I'm good, Scott. I'm good.
Does that work well?
Yeah.
It's there. Okay. And to that point, I think further down the last tranche of those here is, I guess under the duties of the PRA, we added the PRA will provide regular report updates to the council on the PRA's work. And it'll brief council on budget reports, which I think we've talked about before. That sounds good. No objections there.
No, and I think it leaves discretion too, because right now my report to the council when we have our big meetings and time permits, so at least twice a year, is on trainings and mediations. And then there'll probably be other times where I'll need to report on other things, or the council may want me to report on other things. So I think it's clear, but it's also flexible, so it works.
And I think it reflects, in my tenure anyway, it reflects what you do. So it's not anything new. But the other meaty section here, as you see, I think it's the last batch of it. But I think, so we've been talking about it from the perspective of the chair and the vice chair, and now we're talking about it, peer review committee, as the perspective of this new subcommittee that we're putting into writing here. So I'll give folks a second to reabsorb this text, but I hope it should reflect kind of the things we've already talked about. So.
So I have a question then. Is one little two saying like every year they have to come up with a new process, or we approve the process for the advocates review?
No, not a new process every year. The concept was that in providing feedback, it'd be best if we could have sort of a consensus of feedback or feedback incorporated together. I think, at least I've seen in my career that sometimes that's not possible, and this replays, I think, a theme that we just talked about in the review by providing folks with the opportunity to provide separate recommendations so that their full range of opinions or their particular expression of an opinion can be offered.
So this is talking about what they do with the information from the performance review, not how to do the performance review?
Right.
Okay.
I think, at least in my mind, what might be throwing this initial review kind of throws me off. Is that throwing anybody else off?
Yeah, I think we can take out initial. That does signal that there's a sequence, and
Yeah.
sequence raises the question, what's our order here, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it does say a lot about what happens, in particular, if this subcommittee has differing opinions that is not consensus. Andy?
So maybe I'm pretty fresh to this, but when I read it the first time, it's not clear. You kind of touched on this, but these are recommendations regarding what you might want to say. You might want to give a little more clarity about, is this just commentary on performance? Is it recommendation regarding?
So
I mean, maybe say what it is. What are these recommendations about?
yeah, so the word that ties these two together is feedback. So performance feedback and then recommendations based on feedback. In sub 2, these would be recommendations to the advocate as to things that the advocate could do to address feedback, or to incorporate into the advocate's performance in the next term.
I think maybe to Andy's point, we need to add some sort of reference to what this is in this here, and maybe in the first paragraph. And maybe if I go back to, is this an ORS requirement? Does anybody remember off the top of your head? To review the annual? Yeah. Okay.
It's not an ORS requirement to perform an annual review, where we created it for regularity, but also to align with the KPM requirements.
I mean, it just seems like if you put a couple words after recommendations, rather than go, recommendations for improved performance for, I'm not sure.
Something like this.
Yeah, just so it's a little more, if someone was reading this, they knew, I mean, it was just a little more clear.
Okay. Maybe this, Mark, the committee will convene annually at the time that the chair begins the annual review, because it's a chair-driven process, right? So instead of council, so the committee will convene annually at the time the chair begins its performance review of the PRA. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm seeing a lot of red. Any other thoughts or comments or questions here? Todd, did we get to the piece you mentioned earlier? The reporting, I think we did, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Maybe it's too early for me. I'm still not wrapping my head fully around what this section is saying. So there's a subcommittee that's going to be convened at the time of the annual review, but the subcommittee is not doing the annual review, or they are? I thought it was up to I thought it was the chair's discretion.
Yep. As it says here, and it says above, the chair is going to convene a committee that'll include the vice chair and other members at the discretion of the chair. And they'll conduct a performance review. This first sentence
Well,
kind of talks about that. Yeah.
Where does it say? It just says they will convene at the time the chair begins their performance review of the PRA. So what is the point of this committee in relation to the chair performing the annual review?
Yeah, that's a good point, Todd. I see what you're saying. So there's a sequence issue here, right?
Yeah, maybe I'm just too process focused. Like I'm just not getting the steps.
So I think what, all right.
So you want the paragraph,
so maybe what we
drafted
need to,
differently?
I'm sorry, Will, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you want the paragraph drafted differently?
Well, I think what Todd is saying is that, rather than starting with the committee will be comprised of,
Mhm.
what you want to say is the chair and the vice chair. Well, no, the chair. Yeah, let's include the vice chair. I think that that's reasonable. The chair and the vice chair will serve as the committee and other PRAC members may join at the discretion of the chair. The committee will convene annually at the time the chair begins their performance review of the PRA. And then you can remove that middle sentence. There you go. Does that address it, Todd?
It's getting better.
Yeah.
So then,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
maybe it's just me. I'm happy to just be confused
No,
here.
I get what you're saying. There's sort of there's sort of confusion a little bit as it was. I'm trying to make it more sequential, if you will.
Yeah, no, that's improved. Now, serving as the body that provides a review of PRA performance feedback that is received by the PRAC and connecting it. So in other words, if the PRAC received information about the PRA that you want to include in the review, that's what this is saying they should do? Is that
Well,
what this?
remember what my intent is to ask members of the council to provide any feedback on the PRA. I don't plan, my plan again is to just simply ask the vice chair to join me once we've collected feedback from members of the PRAC in order to conduct the review.
Right. But this little I just sounds like it says like as a general thing, this subcommittee provides a review of performance feedback that is received by the council from anywhere and connects those to the advocate's work. But should we say something like the committee, as part of its review, the committee is tasked with, and then sub I could be, making sure like the feedback is mentioned to the advocate, and then
I think what we're trying to do here is craft a mission statement to clearly articulate what this thing is, right? And I think maybe that's what, if you look what I just wrote, that's kind of what we lead off at this first paragraph here. As called for in these bylaws, the chair shall convene a committee annually to review the PRA's performance. And then you talk about who's the membership of the chair, membership of the committee. It's the chair and vice chair and other PRAC members at the discretion of the chair. They'll meet annually when the chair starts it. Then I think we don't need this.
Yeah.
okay, because see, that was hanging me up. I didn't know where it went, like what it did.
Does that make sense to you, Will? Okay, so if we cut that and then this, maybe we don't need this, then we just kind of have a paragraph in here that says, and this language is only really necessary if for some reason the committee, which we are setting up to be rather informal, but if there is disagreement, even if it's just the chair and the vice chair, and the vice chair has really big opinions and the chair has different big opinions, this this paragraph here to me says what happens in that case, and to provide a mechanism for divergent reports.
And that's after the review is performed.
Yeah.
Can it maybe say that?
Yeah. How do we say that?
At the conclusion of the review? comma, or annual review.
If there is a difference of opinions among review committee members, one or
Sure.
more recommendations to address may be submitted to the PRAC.
Yeah. That works for me. Thanks.
I think that can then replace the entire, this long sentence here. Right? Okay, how's that? Okay. Oh, guys, we deep dived into a set of bylaws. How's that feel?
Yeah.
Okay, gonna stop there. I think the only thing left on our agenda, if I circle back, I'm not even gonna share it, but I think the only thing left is to take public comment. But before I do that, I just want to double check on both these processes, subcommittee members. Anything else to say? Anything else? Any other thoughts that we didn't mention in that deep dive?
No, other than my gratitude for all of you putting this together, especially you and you, Scott and Will, for doing all the hard drafting.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
For
Right.
the ages, it'll outlive us.
Very good. Then just for my thought process, Mark and Todd, I will send, I'll keep it in a red line version, I suppose, and I'll send that document to you for the council meeting in December. And as discussed previously, as discussed today, the changes we made to the text, I don't think change the intent of you, the chair and the advocate, having an annual review between now and December. So,
Right.
Godspeed and good luck on that. Let us know if you need any guidance, help. If you need our help from that, let me know. But I think I'll just send you the draft, Todd, and then you can get those for the December meeting. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, no worries. I just wanted to make sure this, so our intent here, just want to be clear on the intent here that we're going to formally adopt these bylaws at our December meeting, correct? Okay. With that, Todd, when we notice the meeting for December, we'll want to be sure that the draft bylaws are available, say, a week in advance on the website to ensure that everybody has an opportunity to review those. And when we send out the notice of the meeting, I would hope that we can make a note that new bylaws are going to be voted on and should be reviewed prior to the meeting. And hopefully we won't have any major questions, but in the event that we do, and that we have to make any more adjustments, God forbid, Will and Scott, we will likely need a follow-up meeting in the event that we can't correct or make the corrections during the December meeting. I really want to get those bylaws, and I won't be the chair after December, right? But I really want to get these things adopted, hopefully in time, so that the next chair has a set of bylaws, right? And so in the event that we can't get this done, we'll probably have to have a 15-minute meeting in early January, right, to finally put this behind us once and for all.
Yep. Yep. I think we've done good work, and I agree with you on all the things you said, Mark.
Okay, good. Well, again, gentlemen, Will and Scott, thank you for working through this. I know this is probably the highlight of both of your careers, and in any event, thank you very, very much. And Andy, is there anything we need to hear from you? I gather your boss is somewhere out of country, if I recall correctly.
He is still in Cornwall, England, swimming as we speak. No, I don't think he's swimming, but he is at the beach.
Nice.
Yeah, great. That's awesome. And then Cameron, anything else for the good? You're the only public person here, so do you have any comments so we can conclude this meeting?
I do not.
Oh, that's disappointing. I wanted an update. All right, well, continue your great work, Cameron, and gather we're at the conclusion here, Scott.
We are. That is all. That's all there is on the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Enjoy this wonderful fall weather. This is outstanding. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you again shortly. Todd, I'm going to reach out to you and the vice chair to set up a date to get together for our annual review, okay?
Sounds good. I'll keep an eye out for it.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, all of you. Thanks.
Bye.
All right.